Yeah, no falling on. Is it wobbly? Oh, welcome everyone to our March 23rd City Council meeting. I am so happy that the weather is nice today and hopefully we won't need our parkas. But I will ask Madam City Clerk if she can please call roll.
Mayor Rachel Arizmendi.
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Here.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps.
Here.
Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Present.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum. You may conduct city business.
Thank you. And if we can all please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can all be seated if you have a seat. For today's inspiration, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize what's going on across the country. In addition to what happened yesterday in Boulder, Colorado, that was so shocking. And the work, or I should say, the issue around Asian American Pacific Islander hate. And it's an issue that's been going on for years, for centuries here in the United States, but it really has been calling to attention now, and there's heightened awareness around it. I'm the board chair for an organization called APCON, or Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council. And anytime you're hearing in the media about the numbers of incidences of hate and crime, it's from APCON's work in collaboration with organizations in Northern California. And since January 2020, the number is at about 4,000 right now, if not even higher over the last few weeks. And it is extremely alarming. I spoke at a press conference a couple of weeks ago standing against AAPI hate. And one thing that I had shared is, being the mayor in the city of Sierra Madre, I'm very thankful that I have never felt threatened here, that I've never felt slighted. And it really is a welcoming community to all different groups and ethnicities and races. So I'm very thankful for that. I did have a conversation with Susan Henderson yesterday, though, and she reminded me about an incident that happened when I first got elected in 2014. I was running through town and I was talking to Bob, who was standing in front of the Starbucks, and he was there with a friend. And Bob said, "Hey, Rachel," because he calls me Rachel. "Hey, Rachel, how you doing?" And I said, "Great." I said, "I'm getting sworn in on Tuesday." And Bob's friend looked at me and said, "Good for you. You're getting sworn in. Are you getting your citizenship?" And I remember thinking, I kind of laughed at it. I don't think he meant it to be mean or rude. He just asked the question. And I finally looked at him and tilted my head. I said, "Kind of, close. I'm going to be your next city council member." So again, I just want to raise that it is an issue. If you know folks that are dealing with this, please make sure you're reporting it. When we report it, this is how we track it and ensure that we have data and evidence to push policy if necessary, and also invest in organizations that are assisting our communities. But again, I'm very thankful for the city that we're in, and it's not a place that, again, I've ever felt slighted, and I've always felt embraced. So thank you, and please make sure to be kind to one another. So with that, we'll go into the next item, which is the approval of the meeting agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Goss.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Garcia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries to approve the agenda. Next is to approval for reading resolutions and ordinances. That City Council to read all ordinances and resolutions by title only and waive the reading in full. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So move Councilmember Parkhurst,
Second.
second Councilmember Krebs. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Next item, approval of meeting minutes, March 9, City Council meeting minutes. Do we have any changes?
I have one, Madam Mayor.
Please, Councilmember Garcia.
On page one, the venue, it says City of Sierra Madre City Council Chambers and the City Council Chambers address. I think it should say Memorial Park, Van Shell, 222 West Sierra Madre Boulevard.
Sounds like an appropriate change.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Parkhurst.
I have an edit to page 4, paragraph 3. It said Councilmember Parkhurst inquired about the plan to reduce greenhouse gas in the homes. I ask the council's permission to change it to Councilmember Parkhurst inquired about the plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the homes overall and from gas appliances in particular.
Okay. If I recall, that was the sentiment that you had shared. Any other changes, additions, revisions? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve as amended?
I move to approve as amended.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Great, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And seeing none opposed, the March 9 meeting minutes are approved. Next, we'll move on to mayor and city council reports. Who would like to jump in first?
I'll go ahead and jump in. So I attended the Clean Power Alliance's lobby day. They had a lobby day on March 10th about Senate Bill 612, which is on the agenda, which staff will give us a report and I will add to. And then last Thursday, I attended the Planning Commission, and the main item on the Planning Commission there was a cell tower to be located about 300 feet that direction, which I saw the maps of the cell service before and after, and I think we will all be pleased with the results of that when it comes to council.
Great, thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Do we have anyone else who'd like to report?
No report here.
Surprisingly, no report here, Madam Mayor.
No report. Councilmember Creeps? Okay.
No.
I don't have a report, but I did not realize that when I had recognized our unsung heroines at our last meeting, and I recognized Pat Alcorn as one of our heroines, I didn't realize Nina Bartoli was in there. So I just wanted to recognize her, that she's another unsung hero. So, and she's our the wife of our former mayor, Clem Bartoli. Okay, next we'll move into public comment for items that are not on the agenda. If you have a public comment, please approach the podium and you have 3 minutes to speak on any item not on the agenda. Librarian Smart.
Hello, my name's Christine Smart. I'm the city librarian. I just wanted to say publicly, thank you to our police department for doing a collaboration last week. We had a great time. And if you haven't already gone to our Facebook page and watched them in full uniform do the hula, you must do so. So thank you so much for that. And we look forward to fun future events like that. Thank you.
Thank you. And it was good advertising for that. I received a door hanger on that, and I guess we'll all have to watch the hula. Ms. Sheridan.
Yes, good afternoon, council members.
Oh, I don't think the mic is on.
All right. Better. Deb Jarrett. Yes.
Oh,
Oh, good afternoon, council members. So
Deb, let's hold on just a second to make sure that we can hear you. We'll put a few more seconds back on for you. Woo!
Uh-oh.
Okay, Ed, gotta.
Whoa.
Oh, where'd this? Whoa, Annas are coming through.
They are coming, aren't
Okay. With that. Thank you. Yay. All right,
Ms. Sheridan.
trying again. Deb Sheridan, Valley Vista Drive, and I am speaking only as a resident of Sierra Madre. Good afternoon, council members. And thank you for your words, Mayor Arizmendi. I attended the University of Colorado in Boulder for 2 years, and this latest senseless shooting really hits home. Um, And I'm somewhat emotional today, but today I wanted to speak before you because I would like to remind you that the previous city council decreased the planning commission from 7 members to 5 members with a promise to revisit this issue next May. And next May will actually be only 2 more meetings after your meeting today. And the next act of the previous city council regarding the planning commission was to strip most of the commission's authority in reviewing any new buildings or remodeling that needs a conditional use permit. And it gave this to staff, even though staff may need to have an architect, which is current. We don't have any architects on staff. We are reduced so far to 1 architect on the planning commission, but we have dedicated people on that commission. And the danger in doing this was readily apparent when New Urban West presented their plans for 42 new McMansions on the monastery property at your last meeting. They gave a timeline that did not even include the planning commission until one of you reminded them about, oh yeah, there is a planning commission, don't forget about them. Remember, please, council members, that you have the ultimate say-so anyway in what gets built in our town. And what I am requesting today is that you agendize 2 very important issues. First, restoring the planning commission from 5 people to 7, because they are the voice of the residents. There are ways to actually politicize when you need 2 more members, and that people have spoken about that before you. Also, secondly, restoring the authority that they had that was given to staff. And we are in a time crunch after all with the environmental impact report in the works. And as always, I thank you very much, council members.
It's perfect timing, Ms. Sheridan. Thank you. Do you have any other public comment regarding items that are not on the agenda?
Yes, hello. My name is Todd Cranston Cuevas. I live up in Fairview Avenue, and this is also with regard to the monastery project. I'd just like to understand what plans are made or being made to make sure that people have the opportunity to make public comment and that there'll be significant notification so that people will be aware of what's happening and how this particular project can impact our community.
I'm sorry, sir, if you could just hold on 2 seconds. Just want to make sure we can pay attention to you. And I think at this time, maybe we can go ahead and hold down the flags until, yeah, until it's safer to bring them back out. Thank you. Apologize, sir. We'll go ahead and add time back onto your 3 minutes.
No problem. Thank you. Again, I was just asking if there are plans in place to ensure that the public has the opportunity to review the plans, be notified that this is occurring, and have time for public comment. Living in my neighborhood, I can tell you many of the people had no idea this was happening. It may seem odd to you, but it's actually true. Until there were some little notifications put on our doors about the most recent meeting that was done virtually. They had no idea that there was a summer meeting last summer. I know you did advertise it actually in the town newsletter, so you did make that announcement. But to be fair, this is one of the largest projects that hit our community. And I just wanted to make sure that there are some plans to ensure that people are adequately notified.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else that would like to make public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item, which is presentations. First presentation is from me, and it's on behalf of the League of California Cities Women's Caucus Women of Persistence Award. And I have the honor of presenting my nominee. I am the second vice president on the League of Cities Women's Caucus. And during the month of March, as Women's History Month, we have the opportunity to recognize someone, a woman of persistence in our own cities. And I just want to read what the League of Cities certificate says, and I'll also share a little bit about the honoree today, as well as our city certificate. 2021 Women of Persistence honoree. Whereas the month of March is designated as Women's History Month and tribute is paid to women across the nation, recognizing them for their immeasurable contributions. And whereas women played critical economic, cultural, and social roles in our lives, representing every race, class, and ethnic background, and have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our communities. And whereas the League of California Cities Women's Caucus wishes to recognize and acknowledge women in the great state of California for their confidence and continued persistence in leadership, thinking outside oneself while encouraging others, and overcoming obstacles encountered along the way. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the 2020 League of California Cities Women's Caucus honors Megan Mullooly for her contributions that she has given to her community, her willingness to empower others, and her commitment to making a difference. We honor you as a woman of persistence and commend you for all you do. Dated this 23rd day of March 2021, League of California Cities Women's Caucus, B. Derringer, President, Ray Arizmendi, Second Vice President, Nancy Smith, immediate past President, Elizabeth Alcantara, Board Member, Jesse Lauren, Board Member, First Vice President Ellen Kamei, Priya Bat Patel, Secretary Treasurer Cheryl Villegas Walker, Board Member, Jan Arbuckle, Board Member. And please note, Megan, those are all elected women across the state of California that are recognizing you. And I'll also be sharing a recognition for the city of Sierra Madre. It proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Sierra Madre hereby recognizes Megan Mullooly as a woman of distinction for her leadership and countless contributions to the community of Sierra Madre. Presented this 23rd day of March 2021 by the Sierra Madre City Council, Mayor Ray Arizmendi, Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss, Council members Edward Garcia, Kelly Krebs, and Robert Parkhurst. And for those of you that do not know Megan, you probably have seen her signs across the city, as well as her social media posts, because the way that I first learned of Megan was early during the pandemic, when I saw a need for a one-year-old's birthday cake. And it was a family that Megan had sought out to adopt. And there were 8 families, I believe, at the time. And she wanted to make sure that the one-year-old had the opportunity to celebrate his birthday. But since then, she has done so much. If you've ever gone by her house on Auburn, I think I can say that, she has a community closet to assist those that are in need, for family members to come pick up clothes. She still continues to adopt families and give food. She has made relationships with grocery stores and with other local businesses, and they share in their donations so that as Megan reach out to those that are in need, the businesses are also helping her. So It is March. She still continues to do it today. Every holiday you'll see, whether it's crafts outside or flowers for Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, she continues to do that. So I'm honored to present this to you, Megan, and I would love for you to share a few words, and I'm actually going to go down there so I can share these certificates with you. But if you'd like to share a few words as I make my way down, we would be honored to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do my best to keep this short and sweet. For anyone who knows me, you know that's a very tall order. I talk endlessly and very quickly about anything, but I won't bore you all tonight. Tonight, I just want to say how much it means to me to have received this award. I'm definitely not what you would call a shy person, but I also would never have thought of myself as a woman of persistence. To me, that sounds like a superwoman, someone who changes lives daily and still finds time to have whatever kind of family and personal life they want. Not someone who could quote the lines from The Office, and I'm not just talking about the Michael Scott seasons, I'm talking about all of them. Jokes aside, I don't think I'll ever be able to put into words how much this sound means to me. I've been given 2 very distinct and honoring awards this past year, and I just want to say purely and simply thank you. A thank you alone doesn't feel like it does justice. So how about from now on until the end of this apocalypse, and yes, it's this apocalypse, because I'm not ruling out zombies coming. From now on, when you hear someone say thank you, you don't just hear the word, hear everything they wish they could say, but don't have either the time or words. My thank you includes the thousands of dollars, hundreds of essential items, and volunteer hours the amazing and generous donors, a part of the Sierra Madre Gives Back, have donated. Although it may take a minute to see myself as a woman of persistence, as someone other than who once broke a bone while asleep, even though I am the one receiving this award, this would not have been possible without the support from such a wonderful community. It has truly been heartwarming to see everyone coming together, and I can promise this town that your constant support, kind words, and passion for helping others has done such a great thing for so many people. Thank you so much, everyone. And sorry for the stumbles. I'm a little nervous, but thank you, everyone.
Miguel? Miguel?
I'm probably not.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening to that and sharing in that recognition. Next, we have Chief Bartlett for our Sierra Madre Fire Department Annual Safety Report.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council Members Krebs and Garcia and Parkhurst. It's my honor to be able to present basically a summarization of 2020 in our annual report, which is available for anybody that would like to take a look at it out here back here on the table, as well as slides for the presentation. And the complete report will also be available on the city's website for those that would like to do it in the future. As we all know, 2020 was quite the year. A lot of challenges, especially on the public safety side. But I like to remain optimistic and say it was actually a really good year for us, fire department. We accomplished quite a few things with the staff that we have, the contributions that's made, and all the teamwork and all the effort of city staff and council and everything. So yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good year. So basically, just to kind of summarize what you'll see in the actual report itself is I have a message from myself in there. Our our mission, vision statements, core values, department history, department overview itself, financial summary, some notable incidents, and also community outreach that we participated in for the year. As you can see here, or at least on your papers, we have never really had a vision statement, nor have we had core values. And for me, I'm sure any of you really, right, you can't have a mission statement without the rest of those, or any of those without the other. So that is something that I'm kind of proud of that we accomplished this recently. Is the members of our department brainstormed, sat down, and came up with our own vision statement, core values, and just a modification to our mission statement. I'd like to read them out to you if you guys don't mind, especially for those that don't have a copy. But based on our mission statement, Sierra Madre Fire Department is committed to protecting life, property, and our environment through compassionate service. Our vision, the Sierra Madre Fire Department is dedicated to remaining a progressive, cost-effective, and innovative fire department that ensures a safe and inclusive environment for our community through exceptional customer service. Core values, we have honor, which is going to be adhering to the highest standard, both morally and ethically. Integrity, based on trust and accountability through service. Respect to self and community, maintaining a department of teamwork and growth. And then compassion, treating everyone with kindness and empathy. Like I say, I'm proud of what our members came up with. This summarizes our town and our community to the utmost. So we are going to hold those very dear to our hearts, and we're going to make sure that we adhere to those at all times when we provide our service. So like I said, those are new for us, and we're really proud of them. Slide on there is basically just a quick summary of a department overview. I won't get into the details of the verbiage in there, but the fire department is basically made up of 5 divisions. You would think that we just basically are running fire calls and EMS calls, but it's a small business within the business, and we have all the things that go with it. We have the administrative division, which is basically myself, Natalia Flores, who's our administrative aide. Operations, which is your fire department. They're going to take care of all calls for service, along with the emergency medical services. There's a lot that we have to do to stay compliant with public health and what have you. So there's a lot going on there. Our training division, as well as fire prevention. And basically, like I said, that makes up our whole department, the different divisions. I think I mentioned to you guys last time is for the minimal staffing we have, accomplish not only those tasks, but everything that's involved with them. So I definitely would like to give accolades to my staff for the work and the commitment that they put in for the community. It's a lot of work for them. So next slide, if we could. Quick financial summary is you'll see in there that we have basically for 1920, fiscal year 1920, budget summary where our budget was basically about $2.3 million. Our EMS totaled roughly 122,000, suppression 219,000, and personnel was just a little over 1.9 million. On the revenue side for fiscal year 1920 is revenue was approximately 468,000. Through our paramedic subscription program, we brought in about $36,000. EMS and paramedic billing was just over 400,000 at 412,000. And then the water tender deployment and personnel for that year was about $18,000. So like I said, cost recovery on that is, according to our budget, we were about 20% at cost recovery through those particular items there. Notable incidents for last year is besides COVID, we were deployed for 4 different incidents. We were out on the Soledad fire from July 6th to the 7th. Revenue from that was about $7,100. the dam fire, and that was the actual name of it. It wasn't that it was a bad fire or anything. Deployment on that one was from 7:30 to 8:03. Revenues just over $17,000. Water tender pre-positioning, that was right before the Bobcat fire with the weather conditions. Cal OES authorized certain agencies to pre-deploy and get in strategic placing and have personnel ready to go. Obviously, that was 9.5 to 9.6. We got about $9,700 out of that. And as we know, 9.6, the Bobcat fire started. So that pre-deployment worked out really well. We had as many agencies as we could ready to go. 9.6 through 10.4, we were deployed to the Bobcat, and revenue out of there was almost $102,000. So total revenue or cost recovery for the fire department, running into this current year as well, is roughly about $136,000. And then finally, community outreach. Again, given COVID, I think we did some amazing things. We tried to get out into the public as much as possible, show them that we're still here and that we still care. Some of the notable things that we did is we still had our fire prevention festival. We did a drive-through style in the parking lot back here. It was really successful. We had, it must have been well over 100 cars come through there. So it was really nice. Increased in public education materials, being as we weren't able to get out the way that we normally do and people weren't able to come to visit us. We needed to make sure that we still had information and public awareness and materials out there. So what we did is, and they're available currently in the police lobby. Once the city opens back up, we'll make sure that everything's available both in City Hall, at the library, wherever we can. But we have basically a Ready, Set, Go packet that LA County has put out, Sierra Madre Fire Department emergency preparedness, as well as a guide to defensible space. So again, trying to get public education out there as best as we can. We also had educational materials for the local schools. So we put together basically some bags full of educational materials, got those out to the schools, or to the children, I should say, as they weren't in schools. And we participated in Public Safety Week with the police department. And finally, one of the ones is we just couldn't let go for sure was our usual annual Christmas event where we have Santa Claus come to the station. Well, we took him on the road, which was great. It was one of the best events I think I've been on in my career here. So we toured pretty much every street on town that did not dead end. So, you would be surprised. It was amazing because people were in their own yards. They didn't have their masks on. It was so great to see some smiling faces, especially during the holiday. Wraps up what we did community event outreach wise. And like I said, it was a really good year for us, despite being a bad year, if that makes sense. And that's the end of my report. More than happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Chief. And is the fire department also going to be doing the hula for the library?
I think we will be obligated to try and do a better job than police did. And if I may as well, just a quick plug, keeping with tradition as much as possible as well, just a reminder that we will be doing an Easter event this year, the Saturday before Easter. The Fire Department Association will be putting it on. It won't look like the years past with these lawns full of candy, but we will be doing a drive-through Easter celebration, COVID style, with some bags of candy over in the parking lot, as well as the same we did with fire prevention. So just want to make sure we get that a plug out there for everybody.
Thanks for the announcement, Chief, and thank you for the report. I think it was a surprise to me to see the revenue from the Bobcat fire over 100,000, given we know that there was also expenses attached to that. So thank you for sharing. But I want to make sure that our council members, if they have any questions or comments, to have some time for that. Councilmember Creeps?
I just have one question. You mentioned the cost recovery percentage is, for the prior year, it was 20%. Is that, I just have no sense of that. Is that sort of in line with, our surrounding area, or is that what we expect, or is it impossible to predict?
Not really possible to predict. I guess we can do an assessment over a year span and come up with an average. But given that we have really kind of transitioned to where we're at now, we really don't have that baseline per se. And I know probably the last, 5 years or so, we have not really deployed on any mutual aid assignments with engines or water tenders or anything. That is a huge cost recovery source for us. As you can see, that 18,000 the year prior, now up to 120 some or 30 some thousand is a big difference. I would anticipate that increases even more, even considering that we have the potential for that OES apparatus as well. We have some other ideas as well for cost recovery. So we're hoping that it actually will go up, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Chief Bartlett? Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
Chief.
you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chief.
Next on the agenda is our consent calendar. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For you on the consent calendar tonight are 5 items. Consent item 1, or consent item A is consideration of resolution 2119 approving certain demands. It is recommended that the city council approve payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $896,442.30. Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $29,100.54. And payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $426,123.17 for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Consent item B is the second reading of ordinance 1439, repealing in its entirety chapter 15.44, earthquake hazard reduction in existing buildings, adding chapter 15.44, earthquake hazard reduction in existing unreinforced masonry buildings and risk reduction schedule, Title 15 of the Sierra Madre Municipal Code. Consent item C is recommended that the City Council conduct a second reading and approve ordinance number 1439. Consent item C is second reading of ordinance 1440, amending chapter 17.34 of Title 17 of the Sierra Madre Municipal Code to conform to the state density bonus law. And it is recommended that the City Council conduct a second reading of ordinance 1440, amending chapter 17.34 of Title 17 of the Sierra Madre Municipal Code. Consent item D is award of bid for the security fence on Grandview Avenue at the Spreading Grounds, and it is recommended that the City Council award the bid in the amount of $67,400 to Dash Construction Company for the purchase and installation of a 1,000 feet security fence at the Sierra Madre Spreading Grounds. And finally, consent item E is consideration of resolution 21-18. This is a resolution of the successor agency to the Sierra Madre Community Redevelopment Agency requesting the 5th District Consolidated Oversight Board of Los Angeles County approve dissolution of the successor agency. And it is recommended that the Board of Directors consider and approve Resolution 21-18, requesting the 5th District Consolidated Oversight Board of Los Angeles County approve the dissolution of the successor agency to the Sierra Madre Community Redevelopment Agency. Madam Mayor, that concludes the report for the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Do you have any questions or comments on, or questions on consent item A? Questions on item B?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Parkhurst?
I noticed that in the staff report that there were 2 buildings that were removed. That were removed from the list. Were those the 2 owners that came to the meeting, or what was the, were either of the owners that came to the meeting removed from the list? That's my.
Director Gonzalez, is that a question that you can answer?
It is, yes. Both of those buildings were, the property owners were notified prior to our meeting.
So that we had 2 property owners that came to the meeting. Were they the 2 that were removed from the final list, going from 10 buildings to 8?
Those 2 property owners were not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on item B? Okay, questions on item C, D? And
Just a quick question on D. The fence that's in the agenda report, is that going to replace the current galvanized fence, or is that for the, I guess it would be the northwest corner of the lot where the county ingresses and egresses?
Dr. Semino?
Hi, good evening. The security fence on Grandview Avenue and on Sycamore, I'll be replacing to the gate on Sycamore. Some of the fence is going to be left behind because it's upholding that wall up. But the rest of it will be.
But as far as the existing gate, is that existing gate right there where Sycamore, I guess it's not Sycamore, it's maybe Camillo. Is that going to remain and it's going to be a gate for the other corner?
No, the middle gate will remain. There's a gate on the east end at our Metropolitan connection. The middle gate will remain, and then the new gate will be there at Sycamore to replace the chain link gate.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that item D?
I just have a comment, Madam Mayor. I'm
Councilmember
glad to see that us putting it in, it'll make that a little bit nicer looking as you drive down Grand.
Thank you. Any questions on item E? Okay, seeing none, we'll open this up for public comment. I know we did not receive any public comment via email prior to the meeting. But if anyone would like to make a public comment on consent calendar, now is your opportunity. Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back for discussion and/or motion to approve the consent calendar.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Councilmember Krebs, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Do we have any further deliberation on consent calendar?
I understand on item E, that's going to be it has been quite amount of work to untangle the spaghetti that it will be for the funds going forward. And I thank staff for their work on it. No, it's not going to be glamorous or easy work.
Thank you, Councilman Parkhurst. Any other further deliberation, comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, the consent calendar passes unanimously. The next item we have on our agenda is a public hearing. Director Gonzalez for consideration of Resolution 21-17, approving parcel map 20-01, a request to subdivide the property at 91 East Orange Grove Avenue into 2 parcels.
Mayor, this will be our Associate Planner, Claire Lynn, giving the
Oh,
presentation.
great. Hello, Ms. Lynn.
Madam Mayor and members of the council, today City Council will be considering an application for tentative parcel map for the property located at 91 East Orange Grove. The property is located on the southerly border, north side of East Orange Grove Avenue between South Baldwin Avenue and Mountain Trail, in the one-family residential zone bordering city of Arcadia. The site indicated in red is a 0.96 acre lot surrounded by other single-family residents, also zoned in one single-family residential zone. The applicant is requesting to subdivide the existing 41,608 square foot lot into 2 equal sizes lot measuring 20,804 square feet. Pursuant to the code, newly created lot in the R115 zone shall have a width not less than 90 feet and a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. The project qualifies for a minor land division category exemption under CEQA, that where the division of property is 4 parcel or less. Here is the project data. The lot is approximately 185 feet by 225 feet, zoned in the one-family residential R115. So the category for the general plan land use designation is residential low density. The proposed lot size is 20,804 square feet, which is greater than the minimum required lot size of 15,000 square feet. The width is also greater than 90 feet. And on the left, it shows the plan of the existing structure, which it has a single-family residential, a guest house, a four-car garage on the lot that was built in 1939 according to the assessor's record, but according to our historic resources evaluation report, it was built in 1945. So here's are the photos of the property. The first row is viewing from the street. It's a south-facing view on East Orange Grove. The second row shows a oak tree fronting East Orange Grove Avenue and a guest house and the four-car garage. This is the proposed tentative track map were prepared by EGL Engineering, showing that two parcels measuring 93 feet by 225 feet, and the second parcel 92 feet by 225 feet. The proposed request will not alter the existing vehicular access from Orange Grove and all the utility connections from Orange Grove. The existing utility will be serving parcel number 2. A new driveway approach and utility connection will be serving parcel number 1. At this time, there's no new development is proposed for the lot split request. So development review, the parcel map has been reviewed by all directors, building official, fire marshal, police captain, and city engineers. And their comments are incorporated into the plan, or it's incorporated into the condition of approval. On March 4th, Planning Commission public hearing also made a recommendation to City Council for approval by resolution. Tentative parcel map findings have to be made in order to approve the project. Here is a list of summaries. First finding, the proposed map and the subdivision is consistent with the general plan in that the proposed project has a general land use designation of a residential low density and is consistent with the objective of the city's R115 standards. The site is suitable for the type of development in that the current use is one family residential and the resulting lot size will be significantly larger than the minimum required for the lot size in R115 zone. The site is suitable for proposed density of the development in that the subdivision will remain the same density as one family residential, and it's subject to the R1 zoning standards. The design of the proposed improvement are not likely to cause substantial environmental damage or substantially and avoidable injure fish, wildlife, or their habitat. In that the proposed division is currently developed as single family residential, and the proposed division will remain the same as similar to all the surrounding neighborhood. The last finding is that the design or the subdivision will not conflict with any easement or acquired by the public at large. So the subjects of subdivision will not create any needs or conflict or any required for an easement. Alternative before you this afternoon is to approve the application for the tentative track map 2001 based on the exhibits submitted and prepared by staff pursuant to City Council Resolution 2117, or deny the request by identifying the findings that City Council feels cannot be made and the basis for rejecting those findings, or continue the project and provide directions to the applicant and staff. Staff is recommending that the City Council take the following action to approve the application for tentative parcel map 2001 pursuant to the conditions of approval. Madam Mayor, that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Also, our applicant, the engineer are here as well to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Associate Planner Lynn. By any chance, are those slides available, copies of that? I just want to make sure if council would like a copy. I know we didn't have our copy up here. Does anyone need that? And I believe some people in the audience were trying to look at the monitor, so feel free to grab a copy, please. Thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to council, see if we have any questions regarding this item, whether it be for Associate Planner Lynn and or the engineer or the applicant.
Just a couple questions.
Please, Councilmember Garcia.
Could you again repeat what the minimum width for R115 is?
The minimum width for R115 is 90 feet.
90 on the nose, okay.
The
So
newly
we're
created-
looking at 92.14 on one of the lots is the minimum width.
Yes, correct.
And also, I was noticing, and maybe it's because the assessor isn't as precise, but I was seeing a 39,000 number on the assessor records relative to 40,000 plus number. Is that just because of inaccuracies within the assessor's office, or what's going on there?
So I believe that the assessor taking account of, there is a easement at the rear corner. And the survey does not, the survey surveys the entire property.
Thank you. And finally, this came to the Planning Commission, they reviewed it, and they're recommending approval because it's within the scope of the general plan, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Parkhurst.
Associate Planner Lynn. So tonight we're voting on the lot split. Can you explain to me the next steps? What are the plans for the property after tonight's vote? And maybe that's to the engineer.
Yeah, at this time, they have not submitted any improvement on the proposed lots to the city. So I'll defer the questions to the applicant.
If the applicant would like to approach the podium to answer the question, please.
Good afternoon, members of the council.
If you can just hold one, yeah, there you go. We want to make sure that we capture it for those also watching on television.
Good afternoon, members of the city council. My name is Sheila Hargento from EGL Associates, the civil engineer for this project. And we have complied with all applicable city codes and standards and agreed to the conditions of approval and will be available to answer any question if you have.
Okay, and I think Councilmember Parkhurst had posed the question, and you may not know the answer. However, do we know what the plans are for the lot split?
Actually, we have the architect here too. And then if you have any question regarding the design, he's available to answer. But at this point, we are just working on the lot split. Yeah, and then we have the proposed pad area on the tentative parcel maps. So the building design will within the pad area.
So is it the intent to build a home on in each lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then Associate Planner Lynn, then those would go, of course, to the Planning Commission prior to construction. Is that correct?
That's correct. So the design will go in front of Planning Commission. If it's under, if it's code compliant, then it will not. It will be a administrative design review. But if it's asking beyond the requirement, then it will go in front of the Planning Commission. And the demolition plan will be after that they have proposed the new development.
So if it's an ADR, then the council won't see what the plan is for the house on there. It'll just meet the requirements that we have for the city. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Just one addition. The council would see it on the condition that that project is appealed. So if that project is appealed, it would go to the Planning Commission. And if it's appealed from the Planning Commission, it would then go to the City Council.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Lynn or the engineers, or I'm not sure if the applicant themselves are here, and or the architect, if the architect is here? Councilmember Garcia?
As far as the pads that are on the tentative parcel map, are they currently within standards of average setbacks and things of that nature? Side yards and those types of things within our code, our general plan?
Yes, the line indicated all the setbacks that is required by code.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll open this item up for public comment. I don't believe we received any public comment via email, but if there are people here that would like to comment on that, please approach the podium, and if you can state your name, please.
Ginger Kinberg, and I live on East Benita, behind property, adjacent, but not directly behind, but just a little bit to the west, and share common property with the property in question. So I'm here just for more information, and I think her report was stunning, but I'm not an engineer, and I don't understand all of that particular jargon, so I'm looking for a little more specificity as to it's going to be a tear down demolition. I just heard that word, correct? And then two, and finally, that question was asked. I mean, I'm getting my questions answered, but any additional information or clarity as to when and where, because I look at the house, have looked at the home and property for 39 years. So I'm curious. I want to know what to expect. Our community is going through so much remodeling and beautiful things going on. And our street, likewise, in our neighborhood has had a lot. So I'm a curious neighbor and want to know when the noise is going to start and the dust and all that, and then all the good things that come after.
Thank you.
That's what I'm searching. Thank you very much.
And Associate Planner Lynn, is there a timeline as to when things would be met once it's approved, if it's approved?
So the process of the project is they will need to get the final map recorded. After the tentative parcel map, it will be a final listed final map recorded with LA County. And after that, they will have to submit for construction. So design review or administrative design review. After that is approved, then they go through plan check process. And it will be reviewed by the same group of directors and city engineers and fire marshal to make sure that the improvement are code compliant. And after that, then they can pull building permits. So you're talking about probably, I would say, more than 12 months.
I'm sorry, more than
12 months down the line, yeah.
And that's assuming that action is taken immediately. Theoretically, you may approve and nothing happens.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for comment, discussion. Thoughts? Mayor Pro Tem Goss?
I don't have a lot to say. I'm really impressed with the report, Associate Planner Lynn and Director Gonzalez. Staff obviously did their homework here. I feel like I've seen a lot of this over the years, and it seems like this is pretty open and shut, a very clear-cut case of where we take a massive lot, turn it into two more reasonably sized lots, more fitting the neighborhood. And reading through all the reports, obvious it's not a historic property. It's obvious that the trees, any of the significant trees are okay. So I just wanted to thank you guys for doing such a thorough job, and I intend to support it unless something compelling otherwise.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other comments?
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember
So
Parkhurst?
I attended the Planning Commission meeting when this was brought up, and it was a pretty straightforward project. The Planning Commission felt so as well. So it was, they spent a lot of time on the items that require a lot of detail. This one, in their opinion, it didn't. And so, like Mayor Pro Tem Goss, I'm inclined to support it as well.
Any other comments, discussion?
I just had one follow-up question.
Councilmember Creeps?
You mentioned that demolition would also require permitting and that would be at the end of the approval process for a proposed project. I'm just going back to the public comment about the timeline.
Yes, so we need to have a approved project in order to approve a demolition permit.
Okay, and if there are no further comments or discussion, I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I move to accept the lot split as recommended by staff and the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, any further deliberation? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Seeing none opposed, the resolution passes unanimously. And our last item for tonight, I believe, is consideration of support for California Senate Bill 612, and I believe Management Analyst Carlson will be presenting on this, and this is as requested by Councilmember Parkhurst.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. As you mentioned, Councilmember Parkhurst did ask to have this item on this evening's agenda, and I will allow him to lead the discussion on it. In a nutshell, the bill was introduced by Senator Portantino on February 18th of this year, and it addresses the Public Utilities Commission's requirements for preventing a cost increases for traditional investor-owned utilities customers due to the implementation of a community choice aggregator. A community choice aggregator is Clean Power Alliance, which the City of Sierra Madre is a member of. And the council may direct staff to return with a letter of support or opposition and designate a signee. The council may also direct staff to return with a resolution of support or opposition. The council can always direct staff to come back with more information, and the city council can elect not to do anything. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Council Member Parkhurst.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson.
Thank you, Analyst Carlson. So this came to us from the Clean Power Alliance. And so they asked the member agencies to support it. So the way this works, and I don't know that I'm going to get it all exactly correct because it's utilities law, and I'm neither a lawyer and no longer work at a utility. But when a city leaves the electric utility, basically you have stranded assets. You've got things that you buy contracts for 20, 30 years out in the future. And so there is a reasonable compensation that the utility should get for those assets. So that's basically, and that's called the PCIA, the Power Charge Indifference Agreement. And so we get this charge all the time. And in theory, it should go down over time, right? Because we're buying the contracts through the Clean Power Alliance. The old ones that Southern California Edison had were supposed to fall off. That's not exactly happening. About over a year ago, the California Public Utilities Commission put together a task force for all of the investor-owned utilities and the community choice aggregation bodies to negotiate an agreement on how these charges were to happen going forward. So our own Clean Power Alliance was on that, along with Edison. They reached an agreement on it. And nothing has happened for 12 months. Meantime, we're paying money and not getting any of the benefit. So the Community Choice Aggregators of California, the California CCA, has put this bill together to say, just adopt what Edison and the Clean Power Alliance negotiated on behalf of the other CCAs and the IOUs in the state. As Analyst Carlson said, it was introduced by our own Senator Portantino. It is supported by 4 other senators, excuse me, and I think 15 assembly members. So it is relatively, it's not very controversial, but it's in our citizens' best interest to support this bill. And it really just says, take what was recommended the CPUC and implement it and allow us to get the money and the resources that we're paying for. So I'll leave it there and let any of my fellow council members ask questions.
I have a question.
Mayor Pro Tem Goss.
So I'm with you on this. I'm following Clean Power Alliance over the years. I'm a strong supporter of it. Should all be, I believe. We're about what, 95% community here now?
I think that's right.
We're pushing about 90%. Does staff know the answer to that?
Yeah, I get monthly reports as far as participating with
Yeah.
Clean Power Alliance at the 100% level. We're at right about 95%.
Okay, that's pretty critical for me.
Yeah.
So maybe 5% are Edison still.
Correct.
So solely. Yeah, so because when we're using the word "we're," because we're talking about Clean Power Alliance as their interest, we as a city have our interests, and politicians in Sacramento their interest. They're all separate. But I think I can agree with you on this, that this is in the interest of most of our I'm sorry. I think I can agree with you that this is in the interest of most of our citizens. Is that basically the argument, that this benefits them by reducing the cost of the Clean Power Alliance?
Correct. It should either reduce the cost or allow us to have the assets. So if we are paying for renewable energy through this charge, then we should get to take credit for that to meet our obligations. So it's either going to reduce or allow us to have access to those resources.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Krebs?
can you explain the gap between the agreement and implementation? Was there steps not taken? Has it just been inertia? Is it because of the pandemic? I just wonder if there is something going on behind the scenes with the negotiating parties that, we're not privy to, and would wonder if this is sort of preempting those discussions.
That's an excellent question, and no one's been able to answer that. So even the executive director of the Clean Power Alliance, that's the question I asked to him, and he's like, we don't know. We keep asking them, and we're not getting any answer. It could be very likely due to the pandemic, but it's been a year. They should be able to move on.
Is this a delay on the CPUC side, or they just haven't recognized it on the regulatory side, or is it something between the parties?
It is my understanding that it is on the CPUC side.
So I think Councilmember Krebs took the question right out of my mouth, but as far as the bill is concerned, I'm sorry, I didn't read all the language of the bill. Is there an appeal for retroactive payment from when the date of this was when the agreement started?
Excellent question. No. Sorry. Yes, I asked the same question of the folks behind the bill, and they're just looking at trying to get it going forward. It would be nice if it was retroactive, but it is not.
And also, are we talking about assets in place within municipalities, or are we talking about, are we paying for assets that were built decades ago in order to generate electricity the traditional way?
My understanding is it's a combination of things across the portfolio. And so it may be stuff that is owned by independent generators, merchant generators. Some of them may not even be in state. So it's a combination of assets. The bigger assets are clearly allocated, but there gets to be a series of assets that come on when demand is high. And conditions are good. Like, right now, we have lots of hydro, for example, whereas in August, we're not going to have any, especially this year. So it's a combination of assets based on timing and geography and history.
Are the utility companies and/or Edison opposing this, even though negotiations have been agreed upon?
I'll have to get back to you on that. And I should have, and I apologize, Madam Mayor, I should have had the Clean Power Alliance here to help answer these questions because they'd know that off the top of their head. I believe Edison is in support of it, and I believe PG&E is neutral. I think they've got a lot of other things that they're trying to deal with right now, and they have not weighed into this item.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm seeing none. I will open this up for public comment. If you would like to approach the podium, sir, and just state your name.
Yeah, my name is Ron D. I'm a sovereign human being. I know why I don't wear a mask. It's a pretty simple question. Everybody out here is wearing a mask. I just like to know, why aren't you guys wearing a mask?
Thank you, sir. That item is not related to this item, so I will see if there are any other people that would like to make public comment on this item. Okay, seeing none, we can bring it back to discussion. I still would like to know the answer to whether utility companies are opposing and whether it's Edison or not. Despite that, I'd be in support in the form of a letter versus a resolution. But I think, again, it's a benefit to our CPA as well as our residents.
Like,
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Krebs?
I agree. I think it's a good outcome for our citizens. I wonder also if we might wait until there's a final proposed bill, just in case there is parties who weigh in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tend to be in support of this. I did have some last minute questions of management analyst Carlson in an email, and I apologize that I asked those. Some kind of behind the scenes things that I was curious about. So I would be in support of this, but I want to make sure I understand actually what's going on. Because most of us know once government gets involved, we have distortions in the markets. And I want to make sure that we honor agreements that were made. But some of the comments I'm hearing is that there are ongoing negotiations and there was an agreement. So I'm of like mind with you, Mayor. A letter for now, but I'm wondering some of the behind the scenes of this regarding the market and who owns the assets, how these assets were financed, et cetera.
I'm kind of not there yet. I mean, I like the idea 100%, but there are a lot of tangibles here. I like Councilmember Krebs' idea. I think maybe sitting tight until we know a little bit more about where this may be headed. But ultimately, I would support a letter in support of this. Ultimately, I think that's to represent our citizens. Seems like there may be some other balls in the air right now. Juggle.
I did find one piece of information to help with the dialogue, and that is that there is no one in opposition to this. So labor and the utility reform network are all in support of this bill. But I understand everybody's understanding here. If I can make a proposal, is that perhaps we get a report from the policy person at Clean Power Alliance, because she's incredibly bright and she could answer any of the questions we have and let us know kind of where that is. So maybe at a future meeting, as this starts working its way through the legislature.
And I'd support that. And Councilmember Parkhurst, maybe the thing I would also ask is to find out if there is any projected date for some bill language to finalize in addition to that.
City attorney had a
Mr. City Attorney?
Mayor Arizmendi, I just wanted to update the council on the status of this bill. So currently, this bill it has only been through the committee once, which means that it will likely go to the committee again and maybe a third time before it goes to the Senate. So, before it goes to the Assembly. But it's still in its fairly nascent stages. It's being developed. When it gets out of committee, the Legislative Analyst's Office is going to publish its analysis of this bill. And then when it does so, it's going to state who's in support and who's against it. And so if the council wants to wait until this bill is more formed, it will likely be, you'll have a good sense after it gets out of committee and is before the Assembly.
Great. Thank you for that background and clarifications for process. So at this point is, if it sounds as if we're all on the same page, and if we can bring it back to council and after, is it the executive director at CPA, Councilmember Parkhurst, that would answer those questions?
He could, or he would have his policy director come.
Great.
She's the one that is doing most of the work on it and will have the most current information. So I can work with staff to have that when it's an appropriate time.
Great. Okay, so it sounds like we don't really have direction for staff, however, just to bring it back upon clarification. Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst, for bringing it to our attention and for following up with that item.
Madam
Thank you,
Mayor.
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Creeps.
Just one more idea, just to add to the follow-up. I know I recently connected the chamber with the community outreach person for Edison. It might be worth reaching out to her to see if Edison might also be interested in commenting on this as we move forward. In response to Mayor Arizmendi's point about getting a view from both sides.
All right, thank you. Okay, it looks like we're at the end of our agenda. Are there any action items for future meetings, future agendas that council members would like to pose? Okay, seeing none, I believe we can adjourn our meeting. Thank you, everyone.